Hello subscribers, James Stevenson here with your weekly subscriber-exclusive episode of James and Loki's Gems of the Week. Without further ado, let me bring in my co-host Loki. Loki will not do a lot in this video, I'm predicting, because he's already eaten breakfast this morning. We had to feed him breakfast. I wasn't ready to make this video yet when it was time to feed him breakfast. I was still working on charts that I wanted to tweet out. So you can still keep an eye on Loki and the Loki Cam here while I go through all the tweets that I liked on Twitter over the previous week and talk to you about why I like them. I've been doing this show long enough that I'm used to spieling it with Twitter instead of X and tweet instead of post. So forgive my old habits. I'll probably do it a lot more during this video. You know what I mean. You were on Twitter long enough to think of it as Twitter still. These are still tweets, right? We're supposed to call them posts, but I think a lot of people are going to use those terms interchangeably for a long transitionary period. All right, so here's the last tweet that we looked at last week from Matt Smith. I peeked, so I know we've got a funny one to start off, as the next tweet that I liked after last week's video, it was from Earl of Rug Puppy tweeting a GIF from Family Guy of Peter shredding some papers here. So he's taking the printouts, he's stapling them, he's putting 3-hole punch in them, and then they immediately go into the shredder. And that's the code from Chuck's Left Turn. If you don't understand what the joke is here, Elon debuted FSD 12, version 12, which is the first version of full self-driving beta that doesn't have hundreds of thousands of lines of code written by software programmers who are explaining to the computer, this is what a driving lane is, this is what a turn lane is, this is what a stoplight is, or a stop sign, here's how you navigate on and off ramps, you know, whatever the specific code was that was in FSD beta. They threw all that out. And instead, they said, let's train the neural net to drive by just showing it hundreds of, maybe millions of frames of real-world driving data, 3D wraparound animated driving data from successful or unsuccessful drives. So successful drive would have no interventions, an unsuccessful drive would have an intervention, right? So you just tell the computer, hey, do it this way and don't do it that way, and you don't explain how exactly, prescriptively, it's supposed to do that. You just say, pattern your behavior after the successful examples, and don't do the stuff from the unsuccessful examples, right? And you give it a reward system, etc. James Dalma does a much better job explaining this than I do, so watch his videos with Dave Lee if you get a chance. But yeah, this is what happens to all that code written by all those people who are working at Tesla for FSD beta once they transition to version 12 and the future. All that old code gets trashed. Well, it's funny. It's a funny joke, which is why I liked it, but it's nothing new. If you write code, rare is the example of code that withstands, you know, many years or decades without being thrown out or written over. Okay, here's the next one from Elon, replying to Robert Scoble, who I may have liked his tweet, yeah, in the previous week's video. So Elon just reacted to that tweet that I'm not going to talk about again, saying that he had made an accurate assessment. And what's also mind-blowing is that the inference compute power needed for 8 cameras running 36 frames per second is only about 100 watts on the Tesla-designed AI computer. You know, about, you know, comparable to the amount of power you would need to run one light bulb. I mean, a little more than one light bulb, but that's not a whole lot of power required for the computers. I mean, if you've ever seen the Waymo computer setup in the back of their vans, I guarantee they are burning through a lot more than 100 watts of power for all those computers and the LiDAR rigs they have set up, etc. Cell connections and stuff. This puny amount of power is enough to achieve superhuman driving with enough practice. It needs more practice before it's superhuman. It makes a big difference that we run inference at int 8, which is far more power efficient than FP16. I don't know what that stuff means. This requires us to do very difficult quantization-aware training at FP16 in order to infer at the lower resolution of int 8. But think about that for a minute. int 8 only gives you a numerical range from 0 to 255. Oh, so it's 8-bit is what he means, then 8-bit numbers. And yet the car can still understand the immense complexity of reality well enough to drive. Why do I say that? Because there's 256 numbers from 0 to 255, which is 2 to the 8th power. So you've got binary ones and zeros. How many ones and zeros can you make that are 8 characters long? You can make 256 if one of them is 0, if one of them is all zeros. Same caveats here. Reaching superhuman drive with AI requires billions of dollars per year of training, compute, and data storage, as well as a vast number of miles driven. Tesla also has over 4 million cars on the road capable of training the AI. In a few years, we will have roughly 10 million. Yeah, so even though GM has Super Cruise, they only have front-facing cameras, right? You can't drive with only front-facing cameras recording information and reporting back to the mothership, right? So even though that's been on the roads for a few years now, it's only used on the interstate and only on certain sections of interstate because it's doing everything off of the front-facing cameras, which is the easiest kind of self-driving problem to solve. And it turns itself off as soon as it leaves the high-definition LiDAR mapped areas. And then we got a Tesla Sean tweet here that I didn't like, I guess, but got a ton of likes from other people, and a reply from Robert Scoble saying, "Wow, glad you're still with us. After this collision, a drunk driver hit him, and he survived. So good work, Tesla Safety." And with that, I will proceed to the next tweet that I liked, more from Robert Scoble. Oh, maybe I didn't talk about it last week. I figured since it was August 25th that I had talked about it already. Okay, what did Robert Scoble say? "In 10 years, we'll look back at the first public demo of a robot that learned to move around the world by watching only videos. This is a paradigm shift in how software is built. At one point, Elon Musk took over because the AI made a mistake." This is one intervention during a 45-minute drive, which was a weird intersection. I mean, in fairness to the computer, it was strange to have a green circle for a left lane instead of a green arrow, while having a red circle for the traffic going straight through the intersection. So I guess the neural net had seen enough examples of people going when it saw a green circle that it wanted to go, and Elon hit the brake and stopped. But I mean, that's a situation that would have confused a human driver who isn't used to seeing that traffic signal. I mean, there are state-by-state inconsistencies in what you will see at intersections. I remember being thrown off the first time I drove through West Texas, seeing that they hang their traffic lights sideways. So if you're colorblind, you have to know which sideways way they hung it. It goes red, yellow, green from left to right. If you're red-green colorblind, that's a problem for you, right? If you're used to driving everywhere in the world where it's red on top, green on the bottom, that's that's very colorblind friendly. You have to know the rule if they're going to hang them sideways. He said the fix is to feed it more videos. Yep, multimodal AIs are here at full scale. This speeds up the humanoid robot for me. Imagine you showing your robot how to make grandma's recipe, and from then on, it can make it every night if you want. Cameras just had a paradigm shift. Yeah, so the AlphaGo business from many, many years ago, was, people thought that game was so complicated that human drivers would always be able to beat the computer. And then the computers would figure out strategies no human had ever tried before, or that weren't well known among people who were really good at AlphaGo. And now nobody can beat the computers at AlphaGo. It's just better. Chess was solved decades ago. Just the games get more and more complicated with every additional variable that you add to the equation. And reality has the most variables. So that's why it's hardest to solve real world AI, because your simulation model is not going to be able to provide enough fidelity to what the real world is doing, right? No matter how thoughtful and careful you are to plan your simulation, all that can be in the simulation is what you remembered to put in it. So weird stuff, edge cases and corner cases that happen in the real world probably aren't going to be programmed into your simulation. And there's a million examples. The first one that sprung to mind for me was somebody runs over a fire hydrant and now there's water spraying 40 feet into the air. You're never going to model that in your simulation, right? The computer is going to see that happen in the real world, and if it's only ever been trained on simulations, it will have there's no telling what it'll do in that circumstance. Will it drive through the water? Will it go around? Will it halt and freeze? If it's never seen the situation before, it's unpredictable. You don't know. But if you have 4 million cars, as Elon said, if you've got 4 million cars on the road capable of training the AI, they're going to see situations where somebody has run over a fire hydrant and nobody has come out to turn the water off yet. That kind of thing, right? Okay, let's go back one more time. I hope I don't go back too far. Okay, here's another one from Elon. I just can't, rolling on the floor, laughing heartily. The irony is too much. The DOJ needs to sue themselves. What are we talking about here? He retweeted he retweeted Alex Tabarrok saying the Department of Justice is suing Elon Musk and SpaceX for focusing their hiring on U.S. citizens and permanent residents. Do you know who else advertises that only U.S. citizens can apply for a job? The Department of Justice. So they're investigating SpaceX for following their rules, or some government agencies' rules, that only U.S. citizens can be employed in the manufacture of intercontinental ballistic missiles, which is what SpaceX rockets are. Now, there aren't any warheads in the payload bay of SpaceX rockets. Well, I mean, maybe there are some. There are some classified missions that SpaceX does, and we don't know what's in the payload. So seemingly, those could be spy satellites, or those could be weapons of some kind. But they're not going to go blow somebody up right away. That's not what SpaceX does. Leave that to the military. But you don't want spies getting their hands on that information and taking it back to every country on Earth, right? So I don't know whose rule it is, CIA or NSA. Somebody has a rule that says, hey, U.S. citizenship is required, exactly the same as it says on the Department of Justice website. And that's the rule they're going after Elon Musk on. Come on, guys. Get it together. Okay, I'll hit the back button one more time, and we just saw that one. Here's one from Drive Tesla Canada. Trolling level up, Tesla now has wrapped a Cybertruck as a Toyota Tundra. So they're just going to go through every kind of pickup there is. And, I mean, I don't know if they're just looking for a complete set of different regular-looking pickup trucks to wrap a Cybertruck to look like. But maybe the purpose is to line them all up one day and show people, oh, that's exactly how boring pickup trucks are today. They all look the same. I mean, it's I couldn't have told you that that is a Toyota Tundra. I'm glad somebody was able to identify it. I mean, a lot of pickup trucks look the same to me. Here's one from Ashok Elaswamy, who runs the FSD Research and Development Program at Tesla. This end-to-end neural network approach will result in the safest, the most competent, the most comfortable, the most efficient, and overall the best self-driving system ever produced. It's going to be very hard to beat it with anything else. I agree with Ashok's assessment here. And he followed up, and it took a tremendous amount of high-quality data from the fleet, a very large amount of compute, and a world-class engineering team to get to this point. So these are the barriers to entry other companies will need to address if they want to achieve the same success Tesla already has. They're going to need tons of data gathering capability. How are you going to get it? What vehicles are you going to put the cameras on, and who's going to drive them? Your own employees? That's tough to scale, or it's expensive to scale, right? Nobody else has enough cameras on vehicles they're selling to the public to be able to gather the information the same way Tesla does. The very large amount of compute is also expensive and time-consuming. There's a lot of demand out there for AI chips right now, so it's hard to get your order prioritized and expedited. And if you can do it, it's going to be very expensive to do. And then there's the matter of talent, right? Tesla and SpaceX are sometimes number one and number two among engineering talent choices, places engineers, top engineers graduating from college want to go work. Tesla said they had 3 million applications a couple of years ago for, I don't even know how many job openings, but a fraction of 100,000 probably. So, it's harder to, or it's more of an accomplishment to be hired by Tesla than it is to be accepted by Harvard. If you look at the ratio of applicants to those granted admission, there are more people applying to work for Tesla than there are applying to college at Harvard. And there are more people being granted admission to Harvard, maybe. Well, whatever that ratio is. Probably they don't have an enormous influx of new students at Harvard every year. But I saw somebody had put together the math on that and said that it was harder to get into Tesla than it is to get into Harvard. Here's one from Matthew Donegan Ryan, tweeting, Tesla has now built 100 Cybertrucks at Giga Texas. Here's some being loaded onto transport trailers. So before the end of August, Tesla had made 100 Cybertrucks. Good to see the race here between these two. I think the truck and back wins, because this one just slows down too much. I don't know why it's a competition, but, apparently the guy on the far Cybertruck thought it was a competition. And got there first. There he is. All right. Here's another one from Ashok we just saw. Here's another one from Earl. All the beta testing you did for version 11 and below was a waste of time. They threw all that code away. Same joke. Different tweet. I liked them both. Here's one from Sawyer. Tesla's $300 million GPU cluster goes live in 48 hours. It's made up of 10,000 NVIDIA H100s, see below. So each one of these is one NVIDIA H100 and costs $30,000. So if you were thinking about replacing your computer's processor with an NVIDIA H100, it's going to cost you $30,000 if you can figure out how to connect this bad boy to your computer. I'm not sure they even sell them to retail. It may need to be a business-to-business invoice for you to get your hands on any of these. I imagine somebody is making those for personal use for people with way more dollars than cents. Here's one from Satan at S8N. Falling off a roof when you're a kid, I'm okay. You pop right up happy. Sneezing too hard when you're an adult. I had to like this tweet because this happened to me last week, sitting in this chair one morning before I left for work. I sneezed too hard, and it threw off the rest of my day. My back hurt all day long and into the next day from sneezing too hard. 227,000 other people liked that tweet. Here's one from Dylan Loomis, at Dylan Loomis22. Tesla is going to solve for autonomous robotaxis everywhere in the USA first, and it's not even going to be close. No one is even playing the same game. Before I get too far into this tweet, I'll say thanks, Dylan Loomis, for being a subscriber to my Twitter channel. Twitter channel? X account? I don't know how to even say that. But Dylan signed up recently. Given all the data out there, I firmly believe, respectfully, having a different take is uneducated or biased. Still, a lot of hard work and training to do with ups and downs ahead, but with everything we just learned this weekend paired with what we already knew, the path is crystal clear now. Unless NHTSA enforces more goofy rules no one follows, yes, some of those driving rules need to be changed. For example, the full stop situation. So they talked about during the drive that there's not much real-world data from drivers who always come to a full stop to be able to train the neural net on. Most people don't come to a full stop. I mean, obviously, unless there's enough traffic at the intersection that they need to come to a complete stop to be able to then proceed safely. The rule NHTSA wants to enforce is even when there's no traffic present at all, you have to come to a complete stop because that's the law. Well, that law was written a long time ago. Like, safety has improved a lot since back then, and I don't think you can make the case that traffic moves more smoothly or more safely when people come to a full stop instead of, slowing down to 5 miles per hour when there is no other traffic present, right? I would love to see somebody try to make the case that, no, it's necessary to continue slowing from 5 miles per hour to 0 miles per hour before proceeding for a safety reason. I can't think of one. I think, if anything, it would impede the flow of traffic if everyone suddenly decided they were going to come to a full stop at every stop sign. The macro flow of traffic would slow if everyone did that. Side note, I'd pay money for a monthly live stream of Elon Musk and Ashok chatting about FSD and the industry one day in a Cybertruck. I would enjoy that too, Dylan. If I had to guess, my updated take is we see a Tesla robotaxi in some capacity somewhere Q1 2025, if not sooner. Oh, and it's not just going to be some ultra-cautious version, it's going to be smooth, like only the best, most experienced drivers over time. I think they should be feeding it Randy Pobst. So Tesla should give Randy Pobst whatever Tesla he wants as his daily driver, and then feed a lot of those drives to the neural net. That would be fun. Did anyone mention this technology will mostly transfer over to Optimus as well? Because it will skyrocket. Yeah, it's going to be a lot faster to train Optimus once FSD beta, the successors to version 12, are really good at figuring out real-world driving on roadways. Is that capability, that skill, transferable to pedestrian environments? Yes, probably very transferable. Once you've done one of those things, the other one will be a lot easier to accomplish. With the Change My Mind meme referenced here at the bottom, and a hashtag Tesla. So another great tweet there from Dylan Loomis. We saw one of his last week that was even longer and great, and I read all of. I don't read all of these tweets every week because it would be a very, very long video indeed. But Dylan is coming up with some real gems, as usual. Here's one from Elon Musk. Having a vast fleet of cars for FSD autopilot training is a massive Tesla advantage, essential for the hundreds of millions of unusual situations cars encounter on roads every year. Yeah, you're not going to simulate your way around this problem, is my perspective, and I'm sure Elon's as well. As it's kind of spelled out in this sentence, yeah, it's critical to have hundreds of millions of unusual situations cars encounter on roads every year baked into the decision making of the neural net, right? Just feed it all those examples, what was successful, what was unsuccessful, and let it learn the same way human drivers learn. Here's Gort, shocked, I tell you, that the Fremantle Highway, the fire on the transport ship investigation, has provided its initial findings, and the electric cars on board were not the cause of the devastating freighter fire, contrary to much populist speculation. Yeah, EVs catch fire at a rate far lower than combustion engine vehicles or hybrids. Hybrids actually catch fire more often than regular combustion engine vehicles that don't have an EV component. If you put twice the drivetrains on board, you're going to have twice the risk of something going wrong, catching fire, etc. Or at least that's my takeaway from knowing that information about how they rank. Hybrids catch fire the most as a percentage of vehicles on the road. Here's another one from Alex. Investigations on board so far would have shown the 500 or so e-cars loaded are in good condition and fully mobile. Yeah, the EVs are all fine. None of them even caught fire during the fire. So it's a great example to show people who leap to the conclusion immediately, well, the manifest says there were EVs on board, so the EVs must have started the fire. Well, no. In this case, there was a fire. There were fires before there were EVs, people. Fires can start without EVs being the cause of them. And in this case, all 500 of the electric cars on board were in good condition and fully mobile, so none of them even caught fire during the fire. The fire didn't even spread to them in this case. There you go. So here's another one from Matt Smith. No need, James Dalma. I already know all that I need to know. So what was James Dalma saying? It's really quite simple. I'll draw you a picture. A thread he began on a totally different note saying being Karen's partner rocks, referring to at Phi Beta Kitten, who sometimes has an account on X, formerly known as Twitter, and sometimes deletes that account. So I think that's still that account came back briefly a few weeks ago, and I think maybe disabled again. I need a James Dalma long-form interview on the latest Tesla version 12. It would go very well with snacks and booze. Love that profile picture, and yes, there will be version 12 content coming soon, just a bit jammed up at the moment. Matt said, can't wait, and if I watch this content with enough snacks and booze, I might actually convince myself that I understand it. So James Dalma says he'll draw Matt a picture. Here's the picture Matt came up with. Super detailed / accurate explanation of Tesla's AI process. It's the 3-step model. In this case, Matt has labeled those inputs: data, electricity, guidance from really, really smart people. Then in the middle, where the GPUs are, in the middle of the process, magic. Sometimes the magic is upside down. Usually the magic is diagonal. I don't know why. It just feels right for that to be what magic does. Then for outputs, you get self-driving algorithms, Tesla bot, and hashtag Tesla stock price up. That's what happens. Other things I've heard that fit in here somehow: training, inference, 2 weeks, neural nets. That's a quality dashed off meme. Like, this is the appropriate amount of fit and finish for this meme to have. You don't want to overdo it and put too much polish on this kind of meme. Part of the homespun charm is the rough edges on it. So yeah, many years ago, maybe 5 years ago now, Tesla did I think a Gigafactory unveiling, a presentation where they said it's a three-step process, and the three steps were raw materials and parts in. That was step one. Phase two, bunch of stuff happens. Step three, finished product. So, yep, that's how factories work. Raw materials and parts get loaded in, from trucks through bay doors, and then a bunch of stuff happens, and then out the other side of the factory come finished products. There you go. Now you know how it works. Okay, so I don't hit the back button again because I'm already in my feed, and we showed you that one already. Here's Sue McLean replying to JD Power Autos with my video about JD Power. What did they say? They said, insights from the JD Power 2023 U.S. Tech Experience Index study released today show BEV owners experience more problems with advanced technology than do owners of ICE vehicles. They forgot the asterisk. The asterisk is, except Tesla. Why does that matter? Because 80% of EVs sold in the US until very recently, when it's like 70 or 60% now, are Teslas. More than half of US EVs sold every year are Teslas. So really, the number one brand for tech experience was Tesla by 117 points, if I recall correctly. But they did not award any honors to Tesla, despite Tesla getting the highest score. So go watch that video of me talking about that here, if you didn't see it. And be as outraged as subscriber Sue McLean was about that. Here's one from Praying for Exits at Mr. Exits. My guy brute forced every single melody in human history, then copyrighted them all. And then he open sourced all the copyrights. So yeah, this guy said, hey, I bet I can come up with a computer program that that composes every melody line that could possibly be written. And he had 471 billion melodies. And he copyrighted all 471 billion of them, and then he open sourced them all. And now, when people get sued for infringing on somebody else's song, they win in court because this guy has given them a defense they can use, which is, hey, there's only so many melodies, and as a songwriter, I can't be compelled to go listen to all music that has ever been recorded to see if maybe the song that I came up with is the same as a song somebody else came up with before, right? So I replied to that. And so did Elon Musk. This guy rocks. I replied, I still can't believe George Harrison lost this lawsuit from the owner of He's So Fine. Apart from the repeated Sol Mi Re portion of the melody, My Sweet Lord, He's So Fine, the finished songs bear almost no resemblance to each other, and you can listen to this video if you don't believe me, back to back, and you'll hear that George Harrison's melody line, apart from those three notes, isn't the same. There's like one more chord change where it's the same, and then the rest of the song is all different. The songs don't sound the same, but he lost in court because the melodies matched enough that the judge decided to rule against George Harrison, a Beatle who looks like Jesus. I mean, how do you do that? A judge did. Here's another one from Elon. Did my best to warn people that LiDAR isn't optimal for cars. Roads are designed for biological neural nets and eyes, so digital neural nets and cameras work best. When people create signage, they create it to be viewed by human eyes, not by LiDAR. LiDAR can't read signs and will never be able to read signs because LiDAR tells you only how many atoms away solid objects are from the source of the laser beam. And they don't know what's on the sign. They just know there's a sheet of metal and it's opaque. And they can tell you exactly how far away that sign is, but they can't tell you what it says. I say this even though Dragon uses LiDAR for docking with the space station, so I don't intrinsically hate that technology. Yeah, SpaceX, where Elon is the chief engineer, decided to use LiDAR to figure out exactly how far away the docking hatch is of the International Space Station because it makes sense to use it in that application where there aren't lots of externalities to be considered in the calculation, right? But on roadways, human beings have been designing them to be navigated by sight. If you are deaf, you can still get a driver's license. If you are blind, you cannot get a driver's license. You need to be able to see to be able to drive. Here's a tweet from Steven Spencer just repeating the sentence 1 million miles. What's going on here? Well, he's replying to Watusi at SciDude. Who's hating hard on Tesla today? You're about to find out when I return to show you this post from Watusi, who was hating hard on Tesla like he does every day on August 28th, saying a battery and motor replacement with the second battery already down to 79% capacity is an excellent result of a 10-year-old Tesla. BEVs aren't low-cost vehicles. If you own them past 8 years, you'll recharge much more often, pay out big dollars, or own a 2-ton brick. Well, Steven Spencer has brought in the only fact that matters on this retweet from Alex underscore Avoit. This Tesla has 1,015,320 miles on it. And it's still driving. It's still on the road. It's put over 1 million miles on the odometer, or more appropriately in Germany, 1,634,418 kilometers on the odometer. And look what decent shape it's in, right? It had the shock absorbers replaced. It had a repair to a front axle. It had another set of brakes put on. And it had the battery and drive unit exchanged. But the remaining battery capacity is 79%. Yes, considering the age and the number of miles on the vehicle, that's a great result. It's remarkable for any vehicle to make it anywhere close to 1 million miles, right? Try that with a Honda or a Toyota. Try driving them for 1 million miles. I'm sure it's been done by people who like to rebuild engines or whatever, but you don't see a lot of 1 million mile vehicles. Okay, here's one from the Short Shorts historian, retweeting a screenshot, as he so often does. Hashtag TeslaQ, every time a legacy OEM reveals a prototype, wow, this will definitely be made. Mark B. Spiegel famously did a presentation to a convention of short sellers where he rattled off, I think, 80 slides worth of the competition is coming. He would go EV by EV, showing vehicles that don't look any better than this. I mean, look how CG this is. It's not convincing that this was ever produced by Mercedes-Benz, right? If next month's Paris EV, Mercedes EV intro looks like this, it will make Tesla look like a Model T, said Mark B. Spiegel, who has been short-selling Tesla for 7 or 8 years now. Oof, goodness. So yeah, his total assets under management are a tiny fraction of what they were back then after all that short-selling of Tesla. Well, he's at least underperforming the market by a lot. at minimum. I don't think his fund was ever majority short Tesla or anything. Here's a tweet from Warren Redlick about sushi. Why would I like this? Supermarket sushi for $1.76 to under $3. I guess I won't be cooking for myself. Yeah, check it out. So when I did my interview with Warren Redlick last month, he said he was going to be moving to, I think, Nagoya, Japan. So he's there now, and I just saw a tweet from him this morning that he moved into his apartment. So congratulations to Warren Redlick, trying something different, moving from the U.S. to Japan, and discovering that it's really affordable to get supermarket sushi there. Here's one from Sawyer Merritt, and I bet it's tasty too. Breaking, FSD Beta is now available on all Hardware 4 Teslas in North America. I have confirmed with a couple followers that FSD Beta is functional and working on their Hardware 4 cars. Hardware 4 gate is over. So you may have heard that Hardware 4 was going to be delayed by 6 months. That for 6 months, any vehicle with Hardware 4 wouldn't be able to get FSD Beta. Well, a bunch of people with Hardware 4 Teslas are getting FSD Beta already. So thank goodness we can put that one behind us. Now, they may not get version 12 until after Tesla is satisfied that it works well enough on Hardware 3 cars, which is most of the fleet. They only just started shipping Hardware 4, partway through 2023. So it'll be a while before there's more Hardware 4 on the road than Hardware 3. And Tesla kind of promised that FSD was going to work on Hardware 3 cars. So they're going to have to figure out how to make that right by all the people who bought Hardware 3 Teslas with that understanding, such as myself. Here's one from Dave Lee. Dear Hertz, you're messing up. I was renting 2 Tesla Model 3 vehicles at John Wayne Airport in California yesterday. I think that's one of the smaller LA airports. For 1+ months each. And both cars didn't have the mobile charging cables. The employee said only 1 out of 10 Teslas come with a charger cable because customers don't return them. Get out of here. Come on. This is an easy business problem to fix. The employee refused to give me a charging cable, claiming they have none. I value the convenience of charging in my rental house's garage, so I ended up having to order 2 EV chargers on Amazon and Tesla adapters. I have no idea what to do with them after my rental ends because I'm traveling and don't need them when I go back home. This is a simple fix. Include a Tesla mobile charging cable for every Tesla you rent out. When the car is returned, just make sure the mobile charging cable is returned as well. Duh. Hotels solve this problem with bathrobes. People like to steal bathrobes from hotels. If they take them, you just charge them for them, right? You buy more. Keep extra mobile charging cables on hand to make sure all cars have them, even if people don't return them. Lots of people might rent a Tesla, and it's their first experience with a Tesla, including a mobile charging cable, ensures people have the best possible experience with Tesla and Hertz. It's your company's reputation, Hertz. Do it the right way. Elon said, we will look into this. And Everyday Astronaut, Tim Dodd, the Everyday Astronaut, replied here, saying he had the same experience renting a Tesla from Hertz. And they make you use the key card, and you can't pair it to your phone and get the Tesla app like a normal Tesla owner experience. They should fix all those problems, right? Okay. Next tweet from Elon we just saw. Here's one from Holmar's catalog. Here's my 30-second ad for Tesla full self-driving beta. I hope my video is going to cooperate here. So watch this guy blow through the stop sign. The brake lights never even come on. There's a stop sign here. It says stop on the road. He didn't slow down even a little bit to go through that intersection. He just saw no traffic present. I'm going to disregard that stop sign completely. At least FSD Beta does show you the red line on the screen, so you know that it knows it needs to stop at the stop sign. Who cares if it only slows down to 4 miles per hour before it proceeds? It's safer than this guy, because if somebody coming from the other direction had adopted the same strategy, there could have been a collision in the middle of that intersection. Here's one from Alan Dale replying to Real Dan O'Dowd. Speaking of who's hating hard on Tesla today, Real Dan O'Dowd hates on Tesla every day. Like it's his job. His job is actually making competing software. You absolutely have a clear conflict of interest, Alan Dale points out. I didn't even segue into that. Cars that compete with Tesla use your software. I think BMW is one of them. Tesla's success cuts into their sales. In addition, humans driving with FSD are quite clearly safer than humans driving without FSD. This is what Dan O'Dowd misses willfully, I believe, that the data backs up Tesla's using autopilot on the gray bars down here. I mean, what do I have to do, Dan O'Dowd? Draw you a picture? I did draw you this picture. Over the 2019 through 2022 time period, 1.1% of Teslas using autopilot were involved in traffic accidents. That compares against 3.4% of Teslas not using autopilot. So if a Tesla is driven by human driver input alone, they're in an accident 3.4% of the time over this 4-year time frame. What about the average U.S. vehicle? It's involved in an accident 8.3% of the time over this same time frame, and you can see what the numbers were for 2019 alone or for just 2019 through 2020. Same story every year. So great to see Alan Dale fighting the FUD from an account that I muted. I was tired of seeing Dan O'Dowd show up in my For You feed. Claiming he has no products or services that compete with Tesla. Well, that's just a lie. It's just a lie. I know he's trying to wiggle out through some loophole. He likes to pretend that he doesn't compete with Tesla, but he absolutely does for the reasons Alan Dale outlined here. Here's one from Elon saying, we will make an app allowing you to see the latest from X on your car screen. Replying to Ginny Gill, this might be a dumb question. How do you watch Twitter videos on a Tesla? I have to say Twitter videos instead of X videos the way that she presented it. X is Twitter now. So I post videos to Twitter. You may be watching one of them on Twitter right now. And Elon says there will be an app coming to Tesla vehicle MCUs where you'll be able to pick X, just the way you pick Netflix or Hulu or Disney Plus or TikTok or Twitch or YouTube today. I watch YouTube videos on my Tesla sometimes when I have time to kill. The YouTube video works a lot better than trying to bring up the web browser, which is the comment that I left for Elon here. The MCU browser crashes more often than an Audi S4. I decided to weave in a little segue to a video I made about the top 10 most accident-prone vehicles. There's not a Tesla on this list. I wanted to make that point for the 66 people who liked this video and the other 9,000 people who saw it, even if they didn't like it. Yeah, here's another one from the Short Shorts historian, This Day in Tesla Q History. I love to revisit this one. 3 years ago, Gary upset a few hashtag Tesla Q clowns. Gary said, what I love about Tesla Q, they do no real research. They collect data, do not try to forecast anything more than a year out, do not talk to customers or the trade, don't even test drive what they are shorting, and they lose lots of money. Machine Planet Paul Dezan didn't have anything nice to say about that. And then Flyfordat replied, another hater who's hating hard on Tesla every day, replied, on fact, he has truth in one point. It's not possible to forecast more than a year out, as Tesla will have gone bankrupt by then. On August 28th, 2020, that's what Flyfordat thought. Tesla made it more than a year, though, after that point. Let's head up to the next tweet that I liked from Roland Percher. In China, 17,000 Tesla insurance registrations were reported for the week of August 21st through 27th. Let's see what the cumulative sales or insurance registrations in China were, if this graphic will cooperate and pop up for me. So there you go. Through the first 35 weeks of the year, way more vehicles were registered in China in 2023 than were registered in 2022. Now, what's this business about back here? This was the Shanghai lockdowns that happened in 2022. This was a pretty big setback. But even if you raised this line, I think 2023 would still be ahead of 2022 if you threw out those Shanghai lockdowns. So good to see records being set in China this year for Tesla deliveries. Here's one from Tesla Historian about Tesla charts. Remember when Tesla short sellers were taking pictures of Teslas in parking lots and thought they were onto something? Tesla charts tweeting, I wonder when the world will finally wake up to the reality of what is occurring inside Tesla right now. Hey, scoop, in capital letters, it's all right there for you. Retweeting, still kicking at value expected. Longtime Tesla hater, short seller, and troll from 2018. Tweeting about the Arizona graveyard found of, what is this, 20 Teslas? Right? And they were all gone a week later when their purchasers had picked them all up. Did I reply to this? At least they got a few reporters interested. Here's an article. Oh yeah, here's one from Brian White that I didn't like, but should have. I'm not sure I remember this exact day, but I do remember another couple thousand just like it when they said the exact same thing. And then he tagged me in here. Empty lots also spell doom because they can't scale production. Classic heads I win, tails you lose. Yeah, no matter what's happening, Tesla Q thinks Tesla is doomed. They did say that empty parking lots meant the demand cliff was confirmed because every sucker who could be convinced to buy a Tesla already had, and the game was winding down. And as evidence of that, I sent this tweet. Oh, but you never spread misinformation on Twitter. Remind me, is the Shorty Air Force claiming Tesla is doomed due to parking lots full or parking lots empty this week? It's hard to keep up. Commentator at Commuter NYC with an example here saying, the thing is, if you were long Tesla thinking it was a good investment, you were already crazy before the parking lot posts. That's really what they thought. Retweeting 28 days later, Dr. Earl Banning, who tweeted, will one Tesla bear please step up and admit y'all were completely obsessed with full lots at Tesla and now with no transition whatsoever are obsessed with empty lots. It drives me crazy. And then, of course, he can't argue with the irrefutable logic from commentator here. Yeah, if deliveries beat, they'll say parking lots are empty because the backlog has been filled and the demand cliff is coming. There you go. All right, so I took you a few steps in to that tweet. So I'll back up and keep going. Here's one from Holmar's catalog. Nearly 40% of China's ride-hailing vehicles are now electric. Embarrassing numbers from the US. So China is the red line on this chart. Up to almost 40% of the ride-hailing vehicles in China now electric. And these are not driverless ride-hailing vehicles necessarily. Probably most of these are driven by a human driver. Europe is still below 10%. Globally, it's above 15%, eyeballing it. In the US, they're nearly all combustion engine vehicles. That's disappointing. So I liked that tweet from Holmars. Here's another one from Sawyer Merritt. I'm not sure I gave his handle before. What business do you have subscribing to me if you're not following Sawyer Merritt on X at Sawyer Merritt, 2 R's, 2 T's? This is what the new Tesla Sales and Service Center will look like in Miami. It'll be 78,000 square feet. That's the size of a Walmart. That's a big, big Tesla Sales and Service Center. So good work, Tesla, expanding service and sales capacity. Here's one from Stucker Auto. If you release an interior like this one in 2023, you're beyond salvation. This is a Honda Civic in 2023. Folks, what? What are these two blank plastic plates where there isn't a button? What's this about? Honda, can you justify this interior? Look at all the the black cheap plastic click buttons everywhere. Like, this is an embarrassment. This one is required by law. You have to have a hazard lights button in the car for drivers to hit. At least in the U.S. I think in Europe as well. It's a law that you have to have a button for this. So Tesla has to put the hazard lights button in the cabin where the driver or passenger can reach it. But look at the rest of this monstrosity. I mean, come on, guys. What are you doing? What are you doing? Have you heard of smartphones? Have you heard of touch screens? Maybe they should be bigger than this. This is not big enough. No excuse. Here's one from Earl Frunkpuppy. Happy birthday to Frunkpuppy board member and one of the most creative and funny people on this app at Dutchy Wiegans. I hope you have an amazing day. There should be more of this kind of stuff on Twitter, celebrating birthdays by and for cool people like Dutchy here. Here's another one from Earl. Canceled all my subscriptions that were through the iPhone app, renewing through the web app so the creators get more of the money. Yes, don't let Tim Cook take 30% of your subscriptions money by signing up on an iOS device. If you did that before, it's okay. Do what Earl did. Unsubscribe from those accounts and then go to a PC, open a browser, and subscribe through a regular browser. And that way, all the money goes to the people you're trying to support instead of Apple taking 30% of it. Here's another one from James Dalma. The rate of improvement is going to increase substantially. What's he replying to here? It's a tweet from Joe Tegtmeyer. Are we on the verge of a breakthrough with self-driving? Farzad Misbahi seems to think so. What do you think? With a video here from Farzad, who's putting out great content on a near daily basis. So go check out his X account and his YouTube channel if you haven't already. Here's one from Community Notes. At Community Notes, the official Twitter site, you know that because of the Twitter badge here. Notes on images automatically show on posts that contain a matching image, a superpower for addressing AI-generated images, edited photos, and more. It's common for these notes to match on dozens, hundreds, sometimes thousands of posts. Now you can see how many posts an image note is matching on right in the note details. Yeah, stuff goes viral, and people screenshot it and post it, and it's misinformation. And previously, Community Notes would have to go hit all of those one at a time, but some smart programmer at X figured out how to find all the instances where people have posted that image and drop the same community note on them, letting people know that it's misinformation no matter where it's posted. So that's a great improvement. Here's one from Steven Spencer at @Spencer_SMB. Model Y in Massachusetts, now $33,000, including the federal and state EV tax credits. Insanity. When you factor in gas savings and minimal maintenance, probably equivalent to buying a $25,000 gas car. So yeah, great to see how affordable Teslas are, especially in states that have their own EV tax credits that stack on top of the federal tax credit in the U.S. Here's one from Al Hoekstra, professional researcher at the University of Eindhoven. Proud of energy development in the Netherlands, but the trend is everywhere. Renewables are on the rise and fossil fuel is retreating. We have to accelerate, but the course is laid in correctly. Yeah, so the green lines representing wind and solar power are generally rising as you glance across these mini charts here. And the fossil fuel energy production lines, the dark lines, are falling in general. Finland is a great example here. I replied that I thought Finland was going to win until I got to Sweden, the very last one of these mini charts. Denmark also doing great here with fossil fuels crossing earlier than they crossed in Finland. But yeah, Sweden has been been doing great. You can't do a lot better than this. So let me click through here and say that was my reply. Yeah, until I got to Sweden. Mind-blowing how great Sweden is doing. Here's one from @Brad S. Ferguson. How thick-headed do David Faber and Carl Quintanilla and Guy Adami need to be? If you're going to be asked to comment on Tesla on a near-daily basis, please test drive one. Please get in a Tesla. If you're going to be talking about Tesla on national television every day, try autopilot, at least. If you're not going to try full self-driving, try Tesla autopilot. Rent a Tesla, get on the highway, double-click the steering wheel stalk, or however it's activated in your car. That's how I activate mine. And just see how it handles traffic, right? These guys are scared senselessly of a technology they haven't even tried. Arguing from a place of Ludditism is never a winning strategy. Here's one from Greg Marchand, MD. Yeah, you should really follow back your subscribers. What's going on here? This is me with the shush face on my subscribers only tweet that I sent here. It's okay that I'm showing it to you because you are a subscriber if you're watching this video. Elon Musk, it says here subscribes to you. It doesn't say following because I've also subscribed to Elon Musk's channel, or X account. However we're supposed to be saying that. What I wanted to highlight here was that Elon got to 420 accounts that he's following and stopped. I don't think coincidentally. I think he probably was trying to get to 420 and stop. And then I also replied that 121 subscriptions is 11 squared. These go to 11. And then you square that. Here's one from Jeremiah Ware @JeremiahWare9 on X. Keep up the great work, James. I was the only person to like this tweet. What's going on here? Oh, it's just a reply to that. I think I was having a really bad day at work that day, and I just wanted to like some more stuff. So I liked those. Here's one from Sawyer Merritt. Breaking, Tesla has officially introduced the all-new Model 3 Project Highland. People have been rumoring this for a year, I think. The car's first major refresh in 6 years. Below is a thread of what's new. Let me show you these photos. If you've been living under a rock or in a cave over the weekend, and you didn't see any of these photos, there is now a new front camera down low in the air intake area. I think this is going to be used for parking. I don't know if it'll be used for anything else besides parking. Yeah, here's the new tail lights. These are attached to the trunk lid and go up with the trunk lid. There are very tiny low reflectors. You can't see them there. You may not be able to see them here at all. Under this rear diffuser area, there's reflectors. To comply with law that requires there to be reflectors even when the trunk is up that traffic behind you can see. No stalks. Stalks are gone. And new trim around with a light bar running across the dash here. Kind of fun. Lots of other changes. Let me show you what those were. Range increased 12%. The numbers are different in different areas, so it may be that these are just different estimates from different countries. 12% would be a lot of improvement for only coefficient of drag improvement. I mean, that's important, but I don't think it's 12% improvement important. Tesla has changed 50% of the parts on the car. Tesla is also releasing 2 new colors, Ultra Red and Stealth Gray. So this is still very recognizable as a Tesla Model 3. They didn't go nuts with a body redesign on this. The front is a different shape for the nose of the vehicle, for sure. And in back, the TSLA letters spell across instead of the T logo centered, as it has been with Model 3 up to now. The original Tesla Roadster had TESLA letters across it, but that went away for a while, and it just came back. Ambient LED lighting in the interior. It does look more like a spaceship now, yeah. Brand new steering wheel, all new. Turn signals on the steering wheel, which is how you get away with no stalks. Real metal, giving a more premium feel. Materials inside the car in general have been improved. Yeah, Tesla has achieved a 30% decrease in wind and ambient noise, 25% improvement in impact noise, 20% improvement in road noise, added acoustic glass to the rear windows, also more sound insulation in the car, more speakers. They went from 14 to 17, I think. Upgraded suspension, new springs and dampers, stuff you wouldn't be able to see or know happened unless you're like Sandy Monroe, taking the whole car apart. Tires were more cushioning. Main screen is now brighter and more responsive. It does look fast in the videos that I've seen. Rear seats officially have their own screen, just like the Model S. So this came out with the Model S Plaid refresh. They put a screen in the back seat. That screen now has made it into the Model 3, the most affordable Tesla. Front and rear seats more comfortable. Front seats finally have ventilation. All seats are perforated, even up into the headrest, where I'm not sure it's needed that much. 8% more efficient because it's now the most aerodynamic Tesla with a drag coefficient of 0.219. The lower the better with coefficient of drag. On sale in October. Main screen has slimmer bezels, more usable screen area. Rear screen is 8 inches, and you can control the climate, ventilation, and infotainment from the back seat, which is great when you want to just let the kids have whatever they want. Kids are in the back seat. Let them control all that stuff. All right. So enough said about that thread, probably. Matthew Donegan Ryan sharing some of the same images of the official interior and exterior press pics for the Tesla Model 3 Highland. Here's one from Drive Tesla Canada with a few more images. These look like they were taken over somebody's shoulder on a screen a few hours before the official release. What else is here that I want to show you about the Model 3 refresh? Here's one in white. We've only seen the one in red so far, so check that one out. Here's one in dark gray. So, looks pretty sharp here. Oh, here's those reflectors. You can see them a lot better now under the rear diffuser. For aerodynamics, that's what that's there for. Not just some extra plastic they had lying around and decided to stick to the rear bumper. All the local state EV incentives, I'll just let you glance over those. You can pause it and check them out if you want to know what the price is in all of these states for current Model 3 rear-wheel drive inventory vehicles. Yeah, so Warren did think that Project Highland was only a rumor and would not result in any significant changes to Model 3. So he had to eat some crow. Here's another one from Short Shorts historian for you. This day in Tesla Q history. Turns out there was something left. Massive gains. What did longtime Tesla hater and troll Gustavo Latowski say? At @GusKnox if you want to go make fun of him on Twitter. Last gasps of a dead company walking. Tesla is now burning away their customer goodwill, which was really the only thing they had. No more service call on apps, no humans answering service calls, huge delays. There's nothing else left, he said. Well, you can see what's happened since, as is so often the case with Short Shorts historian tweets. Another one from Sawyer about Model X news. Because the Model X now starts under $80,000 with the most recent price cut, it's not only eligible for the $7,500 federal EV tax credit, but also now eligible for some state credits. In Colorado, you'll be able to get an additional $5,000 off your purchase of a base Model X in any color. All the colors are free now on Model S and Model X. So I had to reply, be right back, moving to Colorado. I am not really moving to Colorado. That's a joke. Here's one from Holmar's catalog. I estimate FSD beta has now surpassed 420 million miles traveled. Hashtag Tesla. And I replied with my also 11 squared equals 121 joke here from Elon. Breaking, Tesla has cut the price of FSD from $15,000 to $12,000, so a $3,000 price cut here. Gary Black noted that that's only a 20% reduction in the price, so if you get anything more than a 20% uptake in the take rate on people buying FSD because of the price cut, it was worth it. You made more revenue selling FSD, and more people are going to have FSD as a result of making that price cut. Here's a few from Brandon at Tesla Flex X, who I just followed this week. He put together a number of really good before and after GIFs, so you can replay this section if you want to see what the before and after Model 3s look like. This is the black interior GIF that he did for the interior. Here's the 3/4 rear angle. I think this perspective is called for cars when they take a photo from this angle. Here's the front quarter angle on Tesla Model 3 before and after. The big noticeable change is the headlights. Fog lights are gone now. I guess fog lights are no longer needed. Here's one from Roland Percher, Sweden, reporting 1,717 Tesla sales for August. That is a lot for a country the size of Sweden, as they continue to blow away all prior year records for Tesla sales in Sweden. Great to see. Here's one from Sawyer. Construction on Tesla's new megafactory. Megafactory, that's what I'm going to call it. Shout out Bradford S. Ferguson for inventing the term megafactory. In Shanghai, expected to start this month. Production will start less than 9 months later. When fully ramped, Tesla could generate upwards of $50 billion in revenue annually between their Lathrop and Shanghai megafactories. I don't care if you call them megafactories, Sawyer. I'm going to call them megafactories because they make megapacks. Robert Llewellyn, whose Twitter handle is @BobbyLew, kind of a funny handle for him to have chosen, got his hands on Tesla Model 3 Highland and drove it and reviewed it. So you can see that video and this quote in this tweet from Sawyer. So Bobby Lew has been covering electric vehicles for a long time without any particular bias towards Tesla over other brands of EVs. Here's another one from the Short Shorts historian. I don't know if I'm going to read this one to you or not. So Zach Howard said, when this is over, there should be one big party for everyone to meet up, preferably at St. Elon's mansion that he loses in bankruptcy. Yeah, goodness, that didn't happen. And from DIP Harambe, this is @boy2000fan, who tweeted, postcards from the real world. Thanks Elon for pumping the stock up so much and paying for my vacation. So I guess on one of these tiny peaks he had sold Tesla short and then thought he was going to make a lot of money covering it for a gain. I replied with a tweet he sent that same week that I took a screenshot of. I don't know if it's still up or not. But same guy, same week, said Tesla is one of the most overvalued companies in the entire market. Please tell me you're not banking your retirement on it. When Tesla was valued at $0.05 trillion. Last year, he admitted that he thought a fair valuation for Tesla would be $0.1 trillion, as Tesla now trades at 7 or 8 times that multiple. We'll go back and keep going up, and I think I'm ending this week, yes, with 3 tweets from Viv posting that she got her hands on a Model 3 Highland. So here's a couple of photos that a passenger took of her driving the new Model 3 Refresh around. So here's Viv, happy in her Model 3, answering questions in the comments a couple of times, saying handling and ride comfort super, super smooth. It's like you're in a cotton ball. Sound is amazing. I tweaked the equalizer for max bass and then turned volume all the way up, and it felt like my soul left my body. Haha. And the last tweet that I like this week, yes, it's absurdly silent inside with all that additional noise dampening that Tesla has done. The difference between window rolled down and up is amazing. And that's where I leave you this week. That was the last tweet that I liked over the past 7 days. Here's my co-host Loki, wishing you a fond farewell until next week. But thank you to all of those who support me, which is you. All of you support me either on Twitter or on Patreon or by joining my YouTube channel as my executive producers Kathy Kitchler and Rebellionaire.com did. And I'll see you in the next one.